So, bunch of stuff came today. Got throttle cable, bunch of AN fittings, Bosch fuel pump, alternator, fuel line, return line, some sweet lug nuts. Can't do anything with them today, but they came. So, wheels and tires actually came today too, so they're over getting mounted and balanced right now. So, I'm going to get some of this fuel stuff set up and hopefully going to be able to run it. I'm a little unsure because I don't have my back piece in, and that's where I think I'm going to end up mounting my fuel pump, fuel filter, that kind of stuff. Actually, the pump might stay underneath the car. I've been running most of the stuff in the car, and it's not my favorite idea of having stuff run through here, but I figured there's probably going to be a center console to cover all this up, and the less that's outside in the elements, you know, kind of the better in my eyes, especially because that's unused space anyways. But I might just run it right there, fuel pump and fuel filter there, and then it's just going to come back. I'll see about that once I get there, but very excited that this stuff has come because that means I can actually start making some headway. But I think what I'm going to start with is probably the throttle cable. This is just dirt bike. Well, I think it was advertised as dirt bike throttle cable, but it is nylon lined, and that was the biggest thing that I was worried about, is having nylon lined, and then all the other crap in here I should just be able to adapt to make work. Hopefully it actually looks like I don't have the little piece that I thought it came with. Well, we'll get there in a minute. I'm going to see if I can run this from the pedal back to here, and then once it's back here, that's future me problem. So let's get moving. Well, here's a fun one for you guys. Was working over at the bench on the throttle cable stuff, like trying to get all my stuff organized, and there was a very loud bang, and I have no freaking clue what happened. Nothing's hot. I literally just came in here today. Like, it's all very much still, I don't know. That's really not cool. Okay, so this throttle cable here is pretty easy, actually. It's just the dirt bike one. Ran up here. I needed to get into there, so I just ran up to the parts store, got myself one of these, and it's the 1/4 inch. Fits perfectly into the Honda throttle body there, or whatever you want to call that part anyways. I'm just going to run my cable. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch this down so it can actually stay in there. I'm just going to run it down here and then follow all my lines up through there. It's going to loop back through where everything else has been running into the engine bay, and then come back and hook into the pedal. Now, for the pedal side of it, I've got this already on here. This came off of the pedal itself, so that's what clips into my pedal. And then this is just another one of those that's going to hold the cable there. So I've just got it on there so it's not going to pull the line back through when I'm flopping stuff around. But I'm guessing this is going to take all of 5 minutes to do, because all I'm going to do is just zip tie this line down so it stays where I want it to. I'll want to do something probably a little bit more solid, just so it can't shift a whole lot. I mean, this part's in there, and that's got my metal end and everything in there, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, I'll get that tightened down, because I just remembered that's just kind of sitting in there. But I'll tighten that down, run all this, hook it up into the pedal, and I think I'll be good on that. And then I'll start on probably the fuel side of things. Okay, so my throttle cable is ran. I'm trying to move that. Nope, I can't. The throttle cable is ran, and then I've got this big hole there. It's so tight, I'm not gonna be able to focus on it. So what my plan to do is focus. It's on the back side of the, right there. I don't have another one of the throttle cable adjusters. So I don't have another one of these. So my plan is, and it's a really big hole, I've got a nope, that's not 3/4. What is that, 7/16 bolt. My plan is to put it in my drill press here. I'll get it drilled out with, I don't remember what size the housing is. So I'll measure, drill it out for the size of the housing. It'll end up going in the firewall like this. So the housing part will get drilled all the way through until probably about there. So maybe halfway through. And then the other half will only be the size of the cable. That way, basically, I'm building my own adjustable housing or adapter there. And yeah, that should work. So I'm going to drill it out. I'll show you more of what I mean once it's actually finished, but it should be pretty straightforward. All right, so I got my hole drilled through and my little hole. So what I ended up doing is drilling up to about where the bolt head starts with the big one, and then just finish out with a little one because a little drill bit. So this is not where it's going to be. You know, obviously it's going to be way up here, but I wanted to show you. Put the little silver part on there. That'll slide down. Oh, this is not going to be possible with one hand, is it? That will slide down to go into the bolt hole that I just drilled. Well, you get the idea. And then that part will go through the firewall, and then my just regular 7/16 nut will go on the engine bay side of the firewall and tighten that up. So this will be straight and fixed. Also, it'll give me a little bit of adjustment, not a whole lot, but I'm honestly not worried about this actually being adjustable. I just want it to be stout and held in place. I've got adjustment back there, and that's what that's for. There you have it. I'm gonna get this cleaned up and put in. Okay, so the next part I'm gonna do here is gonna be the tailgate. When I cut this off out at Polish, the top of the tailgate part, I didn't measure. I just gave it, you know, a good whack there, and I did come up short, which kind of sucks because I thought that I had enough. So this is gonna get sectioned because this curves, as I've stated before, and the tailgate is straight. So ignore that for now, but just get the rough idea at, if I just mated those two, I come up about that much short. So I was close, but unfortunately that doesn't help. So what I'm gonna do is similar to the top of the roof there, I'm just gonna cut a piece of steel that's gonna be the length of this, and it's just gonna bridge that gap so I can then go all the way up to the top. Oh, well, on the inside of this and on the inside of this, that way I've just gotta fill this part instead of going over top. So what I think I'll first do is get my strip for that, and then I'll section this off, come back over and get some ideas. The other thing is that's butted up on that side. So I've got to take some out of the center of this, or, you know, wherever I decide to take it out of, but that's the plan for the tailgate. Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. So let's get moving. All right, just got a phone call that my wheels and tires are being mounted, so figured that'd be a good time to stop the video to take that phone call. Since I stopped it, I figured to give you guys a little bit of an update here. So what I did is I cut the top in half, and that way I can just at least work one side at a time and figure out what's going to happen, get it all notched down. And what I'll have to do is get the center of the tailgate, the actual XB side of the tailgate, and figure out where it's going to be. And then I'll notch that out. That way I do the same on the opposite side. That way I'm not like using a full half of this side and like, I don't know, a third of that one, because it does get wider at the top. So basically what I've had to do so far is notch out there so I can clear around that stuff. And now it sits on there good. What I was doing before they called, or what I was going to do before they called, is just start cutting my relief cuts throughout here so I can start to follow that contour. I like to start off with less cuts, so not just going like every inch here because that just makes that much more work down the road. But we'll have to see how much we'll have to cut to follow that contour. So it turns out nicely there. But that's what I'm going to do, is get those lines drawn up here, take it over to the bench, cut my relief cuts, come back over, see if it follows. If it doesn't, cut more cuts, and so on. And then I'll move over to that side, do the same thing, find out about that center point, and trim that off. Then I'll start welding it up, and yeah, it'll be the same thing. I'm just going to get my tack welds in, get everything set, and then go from there. Okay, so there it is after some tacks and everything. I don't know what I was thinking when I put my brackets on there, because that's where it actually needs to be. So I need to extend that bracket out. I had pushed in too much when I drilled my holes. So I'll fix that. That's not really a big deal. That'll, kind of be why this is not lined up perfect right now too. But that's basically what you do. You just kind of get to snake around like that, and then come around here and fill all that crap too. But it's kind of nice because once it's, like I said, lined up better here, it follows the contour of the bed rails with the XB pretty well, all things considered. I mean, mind you, again, we've changed the shape of this and the shape of this, so it's not going to line up perfect. But, I mean, if we kind of get it about where it's going to be, it's really not bad at all. So I am really eager to get my wheels, and I forgot a vacuum at home to be able to get all this like shop vac cleaned up, and then a couple other things. So I'm gonna let the garage air out because it's really smoky from welding, and go grab that stuff, and then come back and keep cracking. There they are. Whew. They look really good. I'm not gonna lie, I thought the offset was going to be a little bit more aggressive. I mean, they're 9.5 with a 15 offset. Oh, it's just sticky. Whew. That was scary. Tires are a 215/40, obviously 18, so they're a little bit stretched. But what I'm going to do here is just test fit them. I don't know now, seeing that they're 9.5, and like I said, that offset's not that aggressive. Back spacing was identical to the SI wheels in the rear. So in the rear, I should be close to the same as that, just stick out more, in theory. I have no idea on the front. So I want to get them test fit so I can see if I need to order spacers. Please, God, don't let that be the case. And then take them back off because I don't want them around this work right now. So let's see what they look like. Okay, so I test fit my wheels. I stupidly didn't take video because I was on the phone and wasn't really thinking about it. What I did is I threw the wheels on. They're all 9.5. I had kind of thought, like the rear end pokes out a little bit more than the front, obviously. But I figured with the front being factory front end, that those fronts were going to stick out, like mad. They're factory, I think it's 15 by 5, I think is what it is. Or sorry, 5.5 or something like that. And a 55 offset. These are 9.5 wide with a 15 offset. So I was like, oh, they're going to be mad aggressive. No, they stick out like not even that much. So I'm going to get spacers for the front. Otherwise, it's going to look really goofy because my rears fit with 4.25 inch sticking out. I'll drop a picture now to show you. So you see what I'm saying? Those rears are good, but it is a little bit closer than I'd like on some of this. This is where we had talked about in the last video that rear might need to get trimmed out. It does. So I'm gonna trim that out and trim that front part as well, and then I'll retest fit. When I do, I'll actually show a video. That way you guys can kind of see the rear. I'm not gonna put the fronts back on. It's pointless, but I'll cut that and then I'll show you. All right, so the wheel is on. I don't have the lug nuts in. The ones I ordered they're not gonna work with these wheels for the rear. So the bolt pattern for the front, the 5x4.5, they fit in. These ones are so freaking small of a hole, and I don't understand why, because they are cross drilled. I cannot get a socket on them. So when I put them on the first time, I had to hand tighten them, and it was a big pain in the butt because they literally run up flush. So I need to get ones that are longer. So the weight's not on the car. So this does sit, I think, a little lower. I have a picture, but I guess I can put that up too. But that's, you know, a rough idea of how it fits. There's some pretty mad tire poke on the rear here. But I really like them. I was hoping for more of an aggressive offset, but whatever. They're really cool. I think they'll fit this build pretty well. But I've got that cut out more on this bottom part, and same on the back. That I'm a lot more comfortable with. Before, I mean, it was like 1/4 of an inch away from that. So I'm going to go do the same thing to the other side. Pull this off, run my stock wheels back on for now so these ones don't get all nasty with everything that's still got to happen. Yeah, I've really been bouncing around today from one thing to the next, but I need to do things like this so I can figure out, oh, I need to order some lug nuts. I need to order some spacers for the front. That way that stuff can start coming while I'm working on some of these other things. The throttle cable, I did get it to, everything's run, and you can push the pedal and it does technically pull this, but it is so insanely hard. This is free. I mean, I can move this. Oh, no, it's not set. But I can move the cable. If I unhook it off the throttle body, you can move the pedal freely. There's no binding. It's not stiff or anything. So the only thing I can think of is that because I've got the XB pedal in here, and this is really a lot of tension with this spring. So I'm wondering if that pedal just doesn't have enough leverage because it's a much smaller pedal than the factory Prelude one. And I already got rid of the stupid throttle pedal. So the only thing I can think of is if I can get this spring to not be so tight. But other than that, the throttle side of things would be done. I'm still waiting on some of the stuff for the fuel. I did run all the fuel lines. I mean, nothing's actually like in, but you know, I've got all my AN fittings. Everything's tight. Fuel pump is in between the seats up there. I do need to run the electric for that, but I don't have a harness even hooked up, so I'm not too worried. But I'm waiting for the AN adapter for the fuel rail, and then this will run right there. And I'm waiting for a different AN adapter for the line to actually go into this, because everything I ran is 8 AN, and this tank comes as a 10 AN. So I need a 10 to 8 adapter. And then this is the return line, which I'm also waiting for the 10 to 6 AN adapter. So yeah, the return line is also ran. Return line's on the other side, but the return line is also ran. So most of the fuel stuff is done. Yeah, so I mean, that was basically what I was hoping to get done for this one. Well, there you have it. I'm gonna get cracking more at some of this other stuff and see where we can get. All right, so I started working on the electrical stuff, and basically I have the harness in here, and what I did to figure out I mean, this probably isn't the smartest idea, but I'm going to tell you how I did it. So I turned my key on, and I've got just this makeshift little ground cable here because that's all I had. So ignore how janky that is. But the only thing I really need on the XB wire harness side is lights. I want my windows to roll down. I want my wipers to work. You know, that simple stuff. So I didn't know how much of this was tied together. Again, this is the primitive way. I didn't go on and look up schematics and everything else. So what I did is I just started, you know, one clip at a time. I'd cut a clip and I'd see if I'd lose anything. And I didn't. So then I went through quite a few of them and I realized, you know what, let's just go to the extreme and trace this entire loom back into the ECU, unhooked it at the ECU and unhooked it at this fuse block and up here because one of them ran up to there. And I didn't lose anything. So I've gotten rid of all of that, which clears up so much space in here. This, you know, is just my return line from earlier. The battery's not going to be up here. What's really nice about this too is this whole block here only runs to this one bolt there. So I'll just extend off of this and run my power wire all the way back and run into the harness back here. That's going to be for the engine side of it because I'll have all of that harness to go through still for the actual motor side of it. So there's that. I'm really excited. Windows still go up and down. Everything still works. Mirrors still work. The vents still blow. Literally everything is normal as far as the body goes. I just won't have actual AC. And what else? Oh, and then like the dome light in there. Oh, you know what? I don't remember. No, okay. I was going to say the dome light I think is further back. It got cut out already. But I mean, that's easy enough to wire one in if I really wanted it. So there's that update, and I'm going to keep trucking on other stuff now. That's going to do it for this one, guys. Part 6 will get cracking here soon. Hoping to get some shift linkage put in. Hopefully it'll be here soon. Wire harness, and oh goodness, I don't know. A whole list of things. So I think it's coming along quickly. Still really gunning for the Automotion car show date, which is like middle of May. So when I say that, I want it like finished, painted, wrapped, whatever gets done with that, everything ready to rock. I think it's possible, guys. So as always, guys, please share this video and all the others to help me out there. And comment, let me know what you guys are thinking, things you'd like, don't like, any suggestions, that kind of stuff. Like hearing from you guys. Have a good one, and get ready for the next one.